We're rethinking the modern hustle trap. Hey guys, it's ATL Love serving you the authentic, transparent love. And today we're going to be rethinking hustle culture to get rid of burnout completely. Because hustling until you have zero energy is not the move. And today I'm going to put you on to the benefits of slow, consistent productivity. I will include tips at the end of this video, how to balance your life, how to achieve a more self-caring type of productivity, and also implementing self-care practices to avoid burnout as best as possible. Let's dive in. Let's get into productivity. What is productivity? Google says the effectiveness of productive effort, especially in an industry as measured in the terms of the rate of output per unit of input. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty technical. But for us, I would say, for how the average human typically sees it, is effectively and efficiently using our time and energy to achieve our goals and make progress towards a fulfilling life rather than simply completing tasks. Yeah. That sounds more like it. See, a lot of times people get so caught up in executing an egregious amount of work that they're just getting by. They tell themselves, I'll catch up on this task tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes Wednesday, and then Wednesday becomes Friday, and then Friday becomes your entire weekend with just unfinished work into the next work week, and then you're just completely exhausted. You can't even remember the time that you got to relax after just finishing a task. Because even if you got 500 things done that week, you are still caught up on the 500,000 things that are still left undone. And then this cycle leads you to classify yourself as a failure when you're simply overworked, okay? And you're competing with all types of automated tasks around you, from so many notifications on your laptop and so many meetings that you can't even keep up with. And trust me, I'm not unscathed when it comes to this. I remember this became a pattern and a chronic habit in and outside of school. I spent most of my life with undiagnosed ADHD. And the thing about it, anybody with ADHD knows the struggle, okay? Because you want to get 101 things done in a day and you can barely even scrape by maybe 2 tasks. I promise you that's how it is. And it's incredibly debilitating and exhausting, especially when you're trying to catch up to your peers who are neurotypical and you feel like they're getting like 5-10 tasks done in a day easily, and you can barely even just get by one because you're bouncing from this task to this task to this task to this task, and then you just start forgetting. You're like, what was I even doing in the first place? And then you reach the end of the day feeling completely just defeated and unaccomplished. And the thing about it is that even neurotypical people are not even getting that many things done in a day. So clearly it's not just people who are neurodivergent, it's like a worldwide issue that people are trying to compete with something outside of themselves and feeling like they have to get more done, when honestly, at a basic human capacity, human level, like I really feel like getting 5 things done every single day, from major to minor to kind of in between tasks, makes you a successful person. And trust me, this has been a lifelong thing. Like I used to measure and compare myself and other people via their turnaround time. And I'm like, okay, if I plan on getting 3 things done today and I only got 1 thing done, how many things am I going to add into my plate tomorrow to kind of make up for it, right? And I would judge myself and others off of that fact. And if they still couldn't get this enormous task of things to do done, then it's like, okay, well now you're just wasting your time. And even when you look at studies, typically women are encouraged to multitask, and it usually stems from the idea of a woman being like a homemaker and a wife and a mother and having to do so many things at once, so making sure and preparing her for that even when she's just a young kid. And I remember my teacher the first time when she was like, yeah, you need to learn how to multitask. And I know she wasn't just saying it to me, but hearing that inside of school, outside of school, seeing how other people expected me to perform, perhaps as a woman, definitely gave me more difficulty, especially accompanied with my undiagnosed ADHD. And so it really compelled me to feel like I and everybody else around me has to be able to perform numerous tasks at once as a measure of their worth, as a measure of their success, as a measure of their true productivity. But it wasn't until 2 weeks ago that I gave myself the space and time to go slower and to do one thing at a time. And I did one thing for the entire week, believe it or not. Sometimes I would add a little bit extra things, but the main goal was one thing. And actually, it was this: my closet. I told myself I wanted to clean up my entire closet, reorder it, redecorate it, make sure it's a clean, neat space for me, because growing up, I also felt like I was a really cluttersome person, and I was like, okay, that's just me, I can't help it. And I think that might be a little bit true, but it's because nothing ever really had a place. So I got the things I needed, but more importantly, I gave myself the time and space to focus on one thing consistently and do it well, so that I never had to revisit it again and that it will stay finished. Simple as that. And the thing about it, this same principle, something as simple as cleaning out my closet, this applies to productivity in general. So let's talk about the long-term health of productivity. When it comes to financial gain, people often think the more I produce, the more I will earn. Now, let's say you own a business or have a managerial role. Pushing your employees to the limit may seem more productive and profitable in the short term, but over time, collective burnout will reduce the efficiency, creativity, and overall output of your desired product. And even if you don't own a business, or even if you're not in a managerial role or higher up role, I know many well-earning individuals who make six figures and above, who resent their jobs and barely get the time to enjoy what they make. Because what's the point of making six figures if you're too exhausted to enjoy it? And companies might offer free gym memberships and a food court down the hall and this, that, whatever. But what good are these benefits if employees are too overworked to enjoy them? Because instead of playing games in the office arcade, they're at the doctor. They're at their doctor because they're sick. They're too sick. What's the point of making so much money if every workday, weekend is spent recovering instead of living? Because many people find themselves trapped in this 9-to-5 cycle. Heck, it's even beyond 9 to 5. It's 7 to 7. And they're burning themselves out in their early 30s, 40s, and they just entered the job market in their 20s, and they're ready to retire, but they're unable to do so. See, now that's not productivity. That's modern slavery. Now, what is burnout? Burnout is the state of emotional, physical, and or mental exhaustion caused by prolonged or excessive stress. And there's three characteristics to back this up. Exhaustion, feeling drained, depleted, and unable to cope with daily demands. Second, cynicism, developing negative attitudes and feelings towards one's work or life situation. And three, reduced efficiency, experiencing a sense of incompetence, lack of accomplishment, and difficulty achieving goals. And burnout can be so deep-rooted, it's important to learn slow, consistent productivity, because if you're not careful, it can really be life-threatening. Burnout can have you feeling fatigued, having heartburn, having anxiety, having depression, experiencing muscle pain, body aches, headaches, and so much more. It's so serious. And so that's why I really am just trying to drive in this point and back it up with other examples of understanding productivity as a whole and understanding the activities and the mental concept behind it all, so that we can find a healthy way of coping and having real productivity in our lives, healthy productivity. And like I mentioned earlier, you will be replaced if you push yourself to the brink of exhaustion, and not by machines, by your own inability to function. Some people are thinking, okay, well, easy for you to say, I don't have the luxury of just deciding to have slow productivity. Like, you don't know what my work life is like. My manager works me to the brink. I'm a working mother. I'm a single working father. So many different factors, right? So it just seems like this extraordinary luxury to be able to have slow, consistent productivity. And trust me, I do not negate that. I promise you, I'm speaking to the lower working class, I'm speaking to middle class, I'm speaking to upper class, I'm speaking to everybody. I'm speaking to the people who are in higher positions that manage over others, that own these corporations or business, to rethink their productivity styles, not to just work their workers to the brink of exhaustion and just replace them like they're cattle. I'm definitely putting urgency in that area. But for the people who don't have that much power or say so in their work life, I want to encourage you to believe in the power of your choice. Because believing and taking ownership of your choices is one of the most liberating things you can do. Incorporating some form of slow productivity throughout your workday can make such a dramatic change. Even if it's just taking intentional, deep breaths to reset, to refocus, and replan what your intentions are. Say if you have meetings back to back to back to back, what are you doing in the hours before you get to work to make sure that your workday goes as smooth as possible? What are you prioritizing? Are you prioritizing your health, prioritizing your scheduling, and making sure that you have efficient scheduling so that in ways that you felt like it was inevitable, that you had to be stressed, now there's outlets, loopholes, and knowing like, oh wait, between 5 to 5:15, I'm able to go a little bit slower with this task because there really isn't that much of a rush behind it, right? Or I'm able to take this break that it's not written, but it's my own personal break, and recollecting my thoughts and reorganizing my tasks for the day and refocusing it so that I can make sure that I am getting what I need to get done, but I'm not burning myself out completely. And it's also understanding the power of your voice. A lot of times, people are living in a world full of made up rules. A lot of times, we are putting a lot more pressure on ourselves than is actually required. Because a lot of times, people are going to their jobs and they're performing 2 jobs. And that's not, it wasn't written in the job description to perform 2 jobs. And you have every right and every say so, especially if you're not doing it by your own choice. Because if you're doing it by your own choice, take a seat. Take a step back. All right? Because we're getting real. You're doing too much. And nobody asked you to do too much. And now that you're doing too much, now people are feeling like, okay, you're able to do too much when you put too much on your plate in the first place. But sometimes the job, they want to use you. They do. They want to use you, and they want to get you doing more than that was written on your job description. Have a talk with your manager. Have a talk with your manager and just say, excuse me, so-and-so, I feel like what is being put out is more than what was required of me according to the job description. And wait for a response. And the thing about it is that even if you have the worst workplace, what are you doing on your weekends? What opportunities are you trying to fill into your own life to make sure that you don't have to be in that environment anymore? Because people are saying it's not that easy, but you reaffirming that all the time is exactly why it's not that easy. Because you don't even want to give yourself a chance. You don't even want to give yourself the choice to believe that there's something better for you out there. It's out there. You have to believe that it is. You have to believe that there's other opportunities written with your name on it. That is not going to keep you stressed and burnt out until you can't even stand it anymore. Let this be your wake-up call. Taking that ownership, taking that accountability is what will set you free. And putting a little bit more discipline or structure in your day, even if you're a working mom, even if you're working single mom, single dad, whatever it may be. And I know your day is filled to the brink. But even making the choice to wake up 15 minutes earlier, and it may seem like a hassle because you were just trying to get all your hours of sleep. But sometimes sleep is not even restful if it's not intentional. It's just sleep. Where are you prioritizing that reset? When are you waking up? Wake up 15 minutes earlier. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. If it's too much, don't do anything. But look up at the ceiling and take some deep, intentional breaths. And think about your accomplishments. And think about what you're wanting to accomplish and achieve that day. And where you are willing to give yourself a time, a space to breathe. At the very least, if you can't even catch a break. Give yourself opportunity to possess that and to own that and make it a non-negotiable. Because slow productivity, producing qualitative over quantitative results, is self-care. Is the thing that will give you more long-term gain, both mentally, financially, or whatever other aspects that you're hoping to attain. It is more sustainable that way. Because now we've talked about it all. We've talked about productivity, what that is, what that means, what that looks like. We've talked about competing with ourselves, competing with outside entities that may not even be real, but if they are, it's just people or technology. And to achieve slow, consistent productivity, it's important to exercise our voice, understanding and taking the power and ownership over our choices and finding freedom, finding liberation in that, and prioritizing rest, which is productive in itself. I brought it down to the barest of bones of rest, which is having 5 minutes, just even 1 minute, to take a deep breath and to reset, so that you can rewire your brain and rewire the rest of your day, into the rest of your week, into the rest of your month, into the rest of your year, into the rest of your life. But of course, other tips would be including more intentional self-care rituals at the end of your week, maybe bubble baths, or just doing a body scrub, adding just one extra thing to your nighttime routine that makes you feel special, a face mask, journaling to have some sort of release. Heck, even yelling and punching your pillow is a form of productivity, in my opinion, because that's a reset. That's a way to just let out the frustration that you're going through, so that it's not pent up inside of you. You're not holding it in, just pretending that you're okay when you're not, okay? But the thing about it is, this whole video is to make sure that you can get better, so that you can do better, so that you can be better, and that you can live better. Because slow productivity is about making steady, consistent efforts towards your goals without overwhelming yourself. It's about creating a reality where you can look forward to every weekend, every weekday, knowing that the small actions you take are steadily changing your life for the better. So that's all I have for this video. If you guys like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Wherever you're watching this out, just show so much love and support. Put your bell notification on. And yeah, like, I really want to keep doing this for you guys. It means a lot for me to try to show up for you guys in this way. So I really need you guys to show up for me too, just to make sure that you guys feel what I'm putting down, you know? Because we're in this together. I'm here to serve you that authentic, transparent love as your motivational mindset mentor. So please show so much love, guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Got to do with it.